When you're cutting up the canyon along the Rio Grande on Highway 68, also known as the Low Road or the River Road to Taos, a spot you don't want to miss is the Classical Gas Museum in the town of Embudo. The Classical Gas Museum is owner and collector Johnny Meyer's homage to the great lost art that came with America's early car culture. Gas pumps as sculpture, signage representing early graphic design, treasures and relics of days gone by. In a nutshell, true American iconography. So Johnny, we're here at the Classical Gas Museum in Embudo, New Mexico. It's a landmark, for sure, but you don't know what it is until you pull in. So tell me the backstory, how this place came to be.
Well, when I was a teenager, I worked on classic cars, and I just love them because they're simple and well built, well crafted, and just, well designed. And as a teenager, I'd go to junkyards and get parts for cars. But while I was at the junkyard, I started loving junk, man. And so I started dragging stuff home besides car parts and started decorating my garage, and then I started I found a gas pump at a junkyard, put it out front, and then it kind of just avalanched,
Just built on it.
Yeah, it just kind of evolved.
And what is it about these vintage kind of items that, to me it kind of creates this nostalgia, but for you, what is the draw to it?
I think it represents several things. To me, it's art. I mean, when I look at these classic gas pumps, I see sculpture, I see art, and I see craftsmanship. It represents a period in America where we built things here in America and that we invested craftsmanship. We were proud of what we built and we tried to do the best job we could do. To me, it represents sort of the enchanted view of America. It's kind of the romantic view of America. And the tourists I get from all over the world here, represents their romantic view of America.
And these memories, this nostalgia that tourists have, is relayed to Johnny on a day-to-day basis.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard people come here and say, my dad used to work for Frontier Gas, or my neighbor used to drive a truck for Texaco, or my first job was in a Phillips 66 station. I'm just amazed how everybody has some sort of connection to the old gas stations.
Johnny's right. By nature, gas stations are an essential element of one of the biggest parts of our day-to-day lives, our cars. And even though most of these items predate my personal driving history, they still conjure up the imagery of old photos and movies that are the foundation of American popular culture, a culture we can all embrace. But I have to say, as much fun as it is to meander around the museum and peruse through all the vintage treasures, I think the best part of my visit was swapping stories with Johnny on the bench under the apricot tree.
People are on their vacations, and a year ago there was some folks that had just come from the Grand Canyon, and they were stopped here and started taking pictures, and they ran out of memory on their card, and they started deleting pictures of the Grand Canyon to take pictures of this place. And I thought to myself, this ain't right. This ain't right.
It may not be right, but it's all good. I definitely recommend you carve out some time to hang out with Johnny on the bench out front and tell some tales as the cars whiz by. That's in America you don't get to experience every day. The hours at the Gas Museum are fairly flexible, meaning it's open as long as Johnny is there, which is most of the time. You can get some great photos and wander around the front at any old time, so pull over regardless. This stretch of road offers some other great diversions. Make a pit stop at Sugar's Barbecue and Hamburgers, just half a mile north of Embudo on 68 in Velarde for some great barbecue, or pay a visit to the tasting room at Vivac Winery to sample more flavors of this region.